So welcome to today's MTD podcast. I'm joined today by Ken Baldwin, the Sales Director from OpenMind Technologies UK. We're going to be talking about some of the new products that they've brought to market. We'll also be talking about the journey of CAD-CAM, not just for Ken, but how the market has changed in recent years. Ken himself joined OpenMind 16 years ago as an applications engineer and is now sales director, where he was, where he took on that role in 2014. So, Ken, welcome to today's podcast. How are you keeping?
Yeah, thanks, Paul. Yeah, I'm very well.
You're working from home at the moment, like the rest of the OpenMind Technologies team, but that's not stopping you, is it? Business still very much open, and in fact, still lots of new business for you in these rather difficult times.
No, not at all. Business is very buoyant for us at the moment. We had a really, really good April, so our sales figures are where we want them to be at this time of year. And it does seem, and this is not, some existing customers investing, but also we've brought some new customers to the OpenMind family.
We recently did a question time, which I'm hoping that people will have seen. It's on our YouTube channel. If you haven't, it's also on the MTDCNC website and can be found on our Facebook page. One of the points we touched on during that, Ken, and it's always important to stress this, that you're always interested in engineers coming to you with their problems, their headaches, their components that they believe are taking them too much time to program, too much time to make from start to finish. This is something you're very much encouraging engineers to approach you with, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. A lot of our business is run this way. When people are struggling with what they've already got, they're not programming the parts as quick as they want them to be programmed. Maybe it's they've quoted 4 days to program and it's taken them 8. And in HyperMILL, what we're able to demonstrate very regularly is how much quicker we can get it on the machine tool. But then also when it is on the machine tool, how safe and reliable. And often there are big cycle time advantages as well. So you win in 2 areas.
I'm just reading here. This is off your About Us page on your website. Optimized CAD-CAM solutions. OpenMind, the technology leader in the digital manufacturing market. OpenMind is one of the world's most sought-after developers of powerful and innovative CAD solutions for machine and controller-independent NC programming. It goes on to talk about the fact that you're involved in 2.5D, 3D, 5-axis milling, and of course turning strategies, which we've spoken about recently. But what was interesting to me here is the industries that it actually lists that you get involved in, all the types of parts: modeling and prototyping, tool and mold making, production machining, the automotive industry, aerospace, energy, medical, jewelry. It's quite a broad market for you, isn't it? Is there a lot of companies or is there ever a company that you visit where you feel your software wouldn't be an advantage?
No, I don't think so, Paul. You're right that we cover so many different industries. Some small part. We have a customer in Austria who make very, very tiny molds for crystals. Very small faceted faces. But then we've also got customers who are making bumper molds. It really is a wide range of customers, of people who are using HyperMILL.
We've talked about the sort of problems that you like to be given by customers in order for you to solve. But I'd like to know also what's changed and what are the trends that you've seen developing in the last 5 years when people come to you with these problems.
I think what people are looking for now is they're looking for easier programming. And I wouldn't say it's not de-skilling it. You still need to know how to cut a part, but time is so precious these days, even more so now. And you've just got to get parts done as quickly as possible. So, and that's what's really one of the things that drives our development is, making our software easier to use. If it's easier to use, and that doesn't mean easy to use that you can just open it with no training and do it, but you don't have to be sort of, a high-end CAD guy who has to create loads of construction geometry, because HyperMILL does so much in the background for you. So that really is I would say, certainly over the last 5 years, really that's where we're going.
And you've seen a growth in sales over the last 5 years, and you've seen a continued growth in sales since the company was founded. Do you attribute that either to the market wanting CAD CAM more, or do you attribute that to the fact that you are making it easier for people to embrace? Do you kind of get the question I'm talking about? The fact that you're making it easier, like you say, is that driving you forward to get more and more people involved in this way of digital manufacturing?
Definitely, I would say that that's one of the reasons of why we're increasing our sales. And also it's the 5-axis machines, which is sometimes where we are known for, and I wouldn't say that definitely isn't the only thing that we do. Not at all. But 5-axis machines are more obtainable now. The costs have come down. There's a lot more entry level machines. So, and a lot of people, to take on these parts, you just got to have a CAM system.
And do you ever find when you go to work with someone that's got a machine that's maybe an entry level 5-axis machine, or not quite as up to the standard of some of these Premier League machines, should we say, that your software doesn't give them what they need? I mean, the machine becomes the weak point. Is that ever a case?
The machine can be the weak point if you're, depending on what you're machining. But if you want to push, to a roughing tool path, if you want to push, you can always push the machine to the limit with the software. But it might be that's all you ever need to do. But yeah, certainly, if you're, you might be limited by the spindle speed. So that could be a limiting point. But we can always get the most out of your machine tool. That's really what I think people should take away, is that HyperMILL will help you maximize your investment.
Now, one of your new products, Virtual Machine, can you explain maybe over the course of 30 seconds or a minute what this does and who it would be of interest to, Ken?
So Virtual Machine is it's a new element to HyperMILL, and this is NC-based simulation. And what I would say, a Virtual Machine is not here because what we're doing in simulation is bad, but we would like to do more with our product. We would always like to do more. So by having NC-based simulation, we can then have a digital twin of your machine tool. And with that, by having a digital twin, we know the characteristics of your machine, we know its limitations. We can then use the optimizer part of Virtual Machine, which can then make some decisions on what you've programmed. So you still program as normal. So HyperMILL, you program independent of a machine tool, and that's the way we want it. But having the Virtual Machine, digital twin optimizer, it can then make decisions. So, for example, if you've got a gantry style machine, and often these have limited rotary axes. So if you're, maybe for trimming or you're doing some scribe lines, you might go all the way around a part, but you might hit a limit on the machine. The machine has to unwind. Virtual Machine takes care of this automatically. You don't have to tell it anything. And the nice thing then is if you then move it onto a different machine tool, the part, maybe that machine goes down or it's full to capacity, because you've programmed it independent, you then just run it through the optimizer on the other machine. It can also, solve collision problems that you might have with, on a simple part where your spindle, maybe there's some coolant nozzles that are in collision on one area. So Virtual Machine would automatically rotate the C-axis to move it out of the way. And the key thing is that the user they don't have to do anything. It does it automatically.
It strikes me a lot of the things we talk about like this are the machine tool supplier has almost got as far as they can with the hardware, developing that. They'll only go so fast. You'll only move the mechanics so quickly. The only gains you can begin now to make are by the introduction of improved software. Is that a reasonable argument? Yeah,
definitely. You could say if you compare it to a car, your CAM software is like an engine management system. So if you have some good software running your engine, then your engine, same engine, it will run better. You could also compare it to a Formula One driver. If I sat in a Formula One car, it would probably crash off the track. Whereas if you put a decent driver in, it would be pushing it to the limit. And that's what HyperMILL can do. It can really push your machine tool, maximize the gains from it.
And this Virtual Machine, does it matter what machine we've got, what machines we're using on our site?
No. So we started off with Heidenhain and Siemens. But we've now developed the Mazatrol PLC and the FANUC-based PLC. So no, and if there's anything we ever come across where we haven't done, then we will develop it.
Okay, what do you think is the biggest untold or unknown fact about OpenMind, Ken? What do you think people don't know about you as much as the things that they do know about you?
I think the biggest thing that people don't know about us is that we started off in the 3-axis marketplace. So we've been around since 94 and we were a 3-axis mold and die company. So it's a big misconception that we started off with 5-axis and we worked our way down. That isn't true at all. So our 5-axis story started in 1999, so after 5 years. And that was all based on our strong 3D technology. So really, what I'm saying is, because I hear it a lot, I only do 3-axis, HyperMILL isn't for me. Well, we started off there, and I think you'd be surprised on really, we can make a big difference on 3-axis machines, not just 5-axis.
And that's a good place to take a bit of a break and have an advert. And when we come back, we're going to be talking about the areas of savings across the board and how they can impact you, whether you are just doing 2.5 or 3D machining as well as 5-axis. We'll see you over the other side of this break.
Are you in need of optimized CAD/CAM solutions? OpenMind are the technology leader on the digital manufacturing market. They design technologically optimized CAD/CAM solutions that include a large number of unique features to deliver significantly higher performance in both programming and cutting machining processes. With their CAM software HyperMILL, OpenMind offers a wide range of outstanding 2.5D, 3D, 5-axis milling and turning strategies, as well as special applications. Visit www.openmind-tech.com to find out more.
So now what we're going to do now, Ken, is talk about some of these key areas of savings and benefits. There is a lot of them, and I've made a note of a few, and I'd want you to maybe either agree with these or disagree and maybe elaborate on them and add more if you feel there are. Because you've mentioned about people coming in at the entry level for CAM, and all of these are factors that can improve their productivity. First of all is their surface finish. Your software can help with this. Cycle time reduction, as we know, less tool wear, better accuracy, speed of program creation, and reduced risks. I mean, is there any more that we can add to this, or are these really the key ingredients of what your software will deliver for machining businesses?
I think you've got most of them there, Paul. Just coming back to you mentioned surface finish. So we very rarely lose on surface finish, but we've actually brought out, there's a new function inside HyperMILL, high precision machining. So it's just a tick box, high precision mode. And this is a new way of calculating the toolpath. So rather than calculating off a polyhedral mesh, which is used widely in the CAM market, we're combining that by machining directly off a surface. And what that means is you get a far, far superior surface finish. So if you're looking at the mold industry where surface finish is everything, this makes a massive difference, and it really is real nice, perfect finishing.
Okay, yeah. I mean, because surface finish is something that, I might not often attribute to the CAD/CAM, but of course it is. But it is a combination then as well, though, isn't it, of the machine, the tooling that you're using? Because you couldn't be weak in those areas and still gain just as a result of the software, could you? Yeah,
no, I think you're absolutely right. It's not. It's about having the right, software, the tooling, the machine, all coming together and being right. And when you've got those things right, then that's where you get the great results.
I want to come on to the last one if you've got no more to just specifically point out there, because I'm with you. I spent a lot. I think that covers most of them. But the reduced risks one, how would you explain reduced risks? What would you say they are, the reduction in them?
The big risk you have with a machine tool is that you crash it. So worst case is you've written off your spindle. So, and it's not just the cost of that spindle; it's the it's the downtime. You could be looking at weeks at the moment to have a new spindle. So then that's your machine tool's not running. So with HyperMILL and also now virtual machine, you can collision check all of this. You can collision check your spindle. You can run it through this. You've got all the tools in HyperMILL to check absolutely everything, even without virtual machine, before you put it on the machine tool. So you can be sure that you don't have any risk that the spindle is going to crash into the part.
Okay, now I'm gonna take all your words, Ken, and I'm gonna invest in some one of your products. But I'm thinking to myself, it might save me in the long run, but it's going to be a lot of time training, and am I going to get to grips with it? I've got to get the guys on the shop floor to buy into it. I've got to change the way we do things. How do you overcome these objections?
I think you've got to see implementing a new CAM system as 2, maybe 3 month project. So obviously from ordering from us, we need to, the most important thing is we've got to train your users. So we're now, in the current situation, we've moved all of our training courses online. So, and they are actually proven extremely popular. So, the benefits to the users are they don't have to travel to our office. They can just walk off the shop floor, or they can stay at home and they can just sit there, go through the course. So, our trainers they have a webcam on. They can also see your screen, so there's no difference really from them you being in our training centre, and then you don't have the travel time afterwards or the cost of a hotel. There was a comment from someone we trained last week that they said it was a little bit like having one personal training, because you're just on your own and you're far more comfortable because you're in your own environment. And then at the end of the day, at 4:00, he just went on and did a few more hours work. The other thing is also, sorry, go on.
I suppose there is always that question when you're in a classroom. You sometimes you don't want to ask that question that you think everyone else knows, and you're going to be labelled as the stupid one that didn't know the answer. If you're kind of one-to-one in some ways, you don't have that, do you?
You do get that, and there is also a private chat to the trainer as well. So the other people who have been trained don't need to see it. But then once you've had your training, we don't expect people to be experts after the training. We'd be surprised. Some people do take to it very well, very quickly, but there's also you're going to have questions after the training, and that's where our support service comes in. So our support service, you can phone us. You don't have to just send an email or open a case. You can just phone us up. You can get direct to an engineer and it might be these little quick questions. Where's this particular button? I can't remember where it is. But then for the more complex things, you can send us in your part that you're working on, or we can do a team viewer in, so where we can actually look at your screen. So we can then point you in the right direction, just give you a little bit more pointers, and then you can be on your way. And we expect that from users when they, after their initial training. So it really, sorry.
I was just going to say, tell me about your team here as well. At this point, you mentioned support and service. What's the infrastructure that you do have in place?
So, well, we're a team of 15 people now in the UK. So 8 of those are application engineers. So we have a 2-tier support system. So we have first line, which is they're answering the quick, easy questions, that take less than 10 minutes. But what we don't want is that they get bogged down on maybe something more complex. So then we have a second line system where that's where the more complex questions are answered. And there might be some cases which take 1 to 2 hours to answer, because they genuinely are might be a difficult programming problem. Or it's just trying to work out what's going on. But it's we do like to answer these calls on the same day. We're not talking about you go into a queue and we get back to you next week. And we're very used to reacting to our customers' demands. We work very much in the motorsport industry where time is everything. You've got to get you've got to get a part finished. You've got to get it delivered today. So having your machine down is no good to anyone.
And so do you think that with the growth of sales that you've experienced as a company in recent years will continue? And if it does continue, will you ever get to a point where, just everyone is using these types of strategies? So, there is no more business. Do you kind of get what I'm saying? I did have a conversation with another customer that sells vices, and he was like, well, when everyone's got a vice, am I going to still be selling vices?
I understand your question. And, in CAM, software doesn't wear out. It's there, and it's it will always work. And if you're a maintenance customer, you keep getting your software updated, so you've always got the latest release. But it's the CAM market is definitely there's been a lot of consolidation, and there's certainly people do move, they do change CAM systems depending on maybe that product isn't going in the direction that they want it. Maybe their development isn't as fast as they would like it. So I can't see that happening for a long time. Maybe it will happen, but I can't see it happening for a considerable length of time.
Because I would think that, as you know, if that happened, I mean, the amount of innovations that are coming out from companies like yourselves, things change, don't they? And I'm sure there'll be new things that come out that you'll be able to go back to all of those existing users and elaborate on their current need for you. And there'll be new things you'll address.
That's definitely the case. There's a lot of automation you can do in HyperMILL now. You can automate everything. So if you can define a rule, then you can automate it. And there's a lot of automation that our customers can write themselves. So they need a little bit of training from us. So if they can recognize trends on things that they're doing all the time, they can write their own, you might want to call them apps for doing a particular thing. And it might be that it's an app that saves you 30 clicks. But, if you add those 30 clicks up, that you do those 5 or 6 times a day, 5 days a week, and you've got an app that does it in 1 click, that's a lot of time that you're going to save. And also you then get the repeatability that you're not going to make any mistakes on the way. It's always going to be done in the same way. So there's certainly a lot of things that people could be looking at now to take their programming to the next level.
Yeah, it's a fascinating subject for sure. Ken, we're going to wrap this up now. I just want to ask you maybe for a final sentence for people that maybe haven't considered your product before, are interested in CAD/CAM. Why should they be talking to you, and how should they get in contact, and what should they be challenging you with in order for you to be able to show them that you're the right choice?
I would say if you think HyperMILL isn't for you because you only do 3-axis, I would invite you to take a look at us. You might be 3-axis now, but your requirements might change in the future. You might invest in a 5-axis machine. So if you start with us, you can always grow. You can grow the product with us, and then you don't have to relearn another product when you go in that area. If you come over to us when you move into 5-axis, all that learning you've done on another product is now thrown away. So it'll be much harder for you to do that later on down the line. In terms of, I would invite you again, if you're already pushing the limit with what you've already got, please, I would invite you to get in contact with us. Send us your parts. We love a challenge. Really, we can show you what difference HyperMILL can make. You can get in contact with us on our website. All the contact details are there.
That's good. All right, Ken, thank you very much. A great end to this podcast. Remember, you can download these podcasts on all of the popular podcast channels. We will put in fact, Ken, can you just tell us the website so that people listening?
It's www.openmind-tech, that's tech.com.
Great stuff. That's it for today's MTD podcast. Thank you very much for joining us, Ken, and no doubt we'll speak to you soon.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks for listening to the MTD Podcast. If you found value in this episode, please subscribe and leave a rating and review. Find more episodes on MTDCNC.com.